Hey everybody, welcome to the first episode of Pitch GaryVee, a new series that kind of came out of the birth of all the hip hop video and meetings we've had. But now what I realize is I'm taking a lot of meetings, well not a lot these days, but I did forever, and I kind of want to get back into it, where startups are pitching me. I figured, you know what, why don't we film these things? Why don't we film these things for two reasons. One, so many of you are trying to figure out how to pitch to good VCs and angel investors, and I had that kind of career, so I'm gonna ask those kind of questions. Number two, very honestly, for the startups that are able to get through the Phil Toronto filter, who is the Mike Boyd of this series, Phil, my right hand for the last decade, admin all the way to my right hand in investing. For the people that are able to get through his filter, that you'll see in this episode how many meetings a year he's taking, it's great exposure. Maybe I won't invest, but maybe you will. And so I'm really excited to put people on, whether they're hip hop artists, whether they're startups, and I'm also really excited to put many people on that are trying to learn how to pitch and have the cadence. And I just have a funny feeling this is the beginning of a very exciting series in my content life. Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Rachel.
Rachel.
Nice to meet
So
you.
nice to meet you.
Neha. What a
Neha.
treat. Nice to meet you.
How are you guys?
Good, how are you?
Sit.
Thank you.
How are things?
Things are splendid.
Splendid,
Splendid is
insane,
good.
scary, terrifying,
All the
thrilling.
Also, I forgot my notebook.
And so I brought a new
out and I was
notebook.
like,
So like I literally look like I've never written a note in my life.
Good news.
It's a prop. Yeah,
no, it's a prop.
That's my notebook.
It's like
I, on the other hand, have 1 page left, so.
yeah.
So what's cooking, Phil?
So Rachel and Neha started a company called GlowBar. We have never filmed a pitch start to finish before.
We haven't.
And I felt that they would be the great first candidates because I love their passion, I love their story, and I love the concept. So I wanted to get them in front of you.
That's a glowing review. Phil sees a lot of shit.
I know, we felt really lucky. We remember when we first met with you, when you were like, guys, like you did really well just now. And Neha and I like acted cool, I think at the time. But when we left this fucking office, we were like, yes, amazing. Like that.
We were like, wait till we get to the lobby.
I know, I was like,
How many pitches do you think you've seen in the last year, for context?
Probably between 1,000 and 1,300
Oh my
a year.
gosh. Wow.
well, that makes us feel really blessed. Thank you.
No pressure.
We don't
Tell
take
me
it
about
lightly.
yourselves.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
I'm from Boston, outside.
Are you a
Boston
Patriots fan?
and Newton. Am I what?
A Patriots fan?
I don't know what sports are really. I
That
don't
was
know.
good. That was good.
Yeah.
I'm
No.
from Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Very good.
Yeah.
The good life.
We can tell you like more about ourselves if that would be helpful.
Yeah,
I'm
I
sure.
give a shit about that.
Yeah, we do too. We're real people. I've been in beauty for 10 years. I started at Birchbox. Thank
love
you for
it.
your investment.
Yes.
Katya and Taylor are close friends of ours.
I love it. So I wrote the first check into Birchbox, right? And so that was 6 or 7 years ago, and I remember that meeting like it was yesterday. We were in Starbucks in Midtown, and they were pitching, and they probably got about 60 words in, and I said I was in. And I remember them getting super pumped and emotional, and not, like pretty emotional. And I remember just was like, what's like cool, awesome. Like I was pumped too, but I was like, and they were just like, we've gotten so many no's, and like we needed this yes. And I was like, cool, like I've seen that before. Like I didn't think much of it, and it was super interesting. It's probably around this time of year. It was that first really nice day in New York City after like the winter, like that perfect, like I don't know if it was April or May, but it was that day. I think we all know what day that was. And I was ironically less busy back then, so I could actually walk home. And I live on the Upper East Side. And in that 30-block walk, I remember somewhere around halfway being like, wait a minute, like, is it possible? Like the business was so obvious to me. It was like, we're gonna get samples and sell them. I was like, that's a great fucking business.
Katya is an investor in GlowBar. And I was there for 4 years, led our partnerships team, so really like pitching brands.
Did we meet in that one meeting I came in when I was in that conference room?
With Jab, Jab, Hook.
It's
Yeah.
so funny. You walked in, I'm like, God, this fucking face.
Yeah.
I definitely
Wow.
feel
So
like, yeah.
can I
Good
tell you like
memory.
a weird thing? I was thinking of bringing the book to get you to sign it, but then I was like, Rachel, don't be thirsty. Like, please don't embarrass Neha and bring a fucking book and be
It
like,
was
can you
so
sign this?
funny. When you walked in, I'm like, God, really
yeah.
feel like that's super cool. I remember that meeting very well.
Yeah, and that was a really cool thing we did. We had every month like
Yep.
an entrepreneur come and like talk to us and like teach us what worked for them, what didn't, like any advice. And I remember it was like our best like team building thing that they ever did. So I was there for 4 years, left. I learned like the startup space and like the venture back space, but really wanted to learn how like a sole proprietor owned a business and ran a business and how it was like all operated. So I went to Beauty Blender, the world's #1 makeup sponge, and worked there for the past 3.5 years, and really realized I wanted to do my own thing.
Good for you.
And then Neha and I found one another. We manifested one another. And she can tell you a bit about herself.
So I previously was a management consultant at Bain & Company. Spent a lot of time in their consumer and retail practices and got really obsessed with thinking about the consumer. When you're a management consultant, I wasn't really able to kind of get into that side of the business. So then I externed for Henry Davis, the CEO of Glossier, ahead of their Series C. So just thinking about like different strategic initiatives that they had top of mind at the time. And really understanding how a company that focuses on consumer is actually doing that operationally and like what they're putting in place, which was really, really cool insight to get. Coming out of that, I was like, okay, I want to try this. I want to put this to practice. Said that to a colleague. Rachel had also said that to a colleague, and the colleague was like, you two should meet.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're like, I mean, you hit
Do
it
you
on.
have like a statue of this person in the office?
Her name is Alyssa. Shout out to Alyssa. She's an amazing marketer actually, and she like just saw like I think that we were completely different people, but could like come together and really build something amazing.
Yeah, you guys are gonna have to have like we have to make a shrine for her.
I know, we're working on it.
We actually should do more for her.
I know.
We've like thanked her and we like sent
The
her
best
heart
way
emoji.
to thank her is to like Easter eggs within your business.
Yeah. So yeah, we're really.
So what's the
excited.
business?
You want to go? You want me
Sure,
to go?
I can go.
We never know like who. Go ahead.
So at the end of the day, what we're really trying to do is help people take better care of their skin. And we want to do that, A, in person, and also B, online. So as we think about it in person, it's really being an expert for her and providing skincare treatments because we think she needs to be seeing someone professional at least once a month to take better care of her skin, to really make her at-home routine work and be more effective.
And what are most women doing now?
Yeah, so most women are taking care of their skin at home and trial and error. It's a complete shit show, Gary.
Yeah.
Like everyone's buying stuff at Sephora. They're looking at on YouTube for like tutorials of how to do a mask or how to use a product. And then they're going to their dermatologist once a year or twice a year, which
Once or twice a year.
once or twice a year.
And what's a facial?
A facial
I'm being serious.
is an hour. Yeah,
I mean, I know what it is,
you.
but like what is it in the practice of this?
Yeah, so a facial is about an hour and a half appointment as it stands today, and it's about 12 steps.
Yeah.
They wash your face ad nauseum, they massage your
They
shoulders.
have that. I've done two. They do the like foggy, steamy
Yeah,
thing.
steam.
Yeah.
Where you're like sweating down your neck and you're
Right,
just like,
I like that
and it's
shit.
like down your ears, and
Yeah.
they
No, I
leave
like that.
you, and they're like,
Right.
see you in 10 minutes, and then they come back, and it takes forever, and so the consumer opts out. They're not taking care of their skin because it takes too long, it's expensive, it's $150 on average, and they don't know who to trust. And so those
And so is that what you're disrupting?
Yeah, exactly. So basically,
Faster, better priced, more contemporary?
yeah.
Yep, effective.
30-minute
and
treatment only.
Only.
Yep.
Max
$70.
or min too? 30.
30.
Next.
Period. One offering.
How many places do this? How many do you have? Locations do you have?
We're opening our first in
That's
Q2.
awesome. Good for you.
Thanks.
Where?
Tribeca.
Good.
Yep.
Okay.
We're excited. But
30 minutes
basically,
only.
30 minutes
And what have you
only.
been doing so far? Like visiting people?
So we are just getting started, and so
Yeah,
what
no
we've
worries.
been doing is figuring out what happens in those 30 minutes. So we've been testing all of the protocols we want to do, how we want to do them, and also how we want to talk.
Like
to
has this been like on friends and family or like people just coming over like you're doing them?
Yeah, so we actually have a partnership with an aesthetic school outside of Boston that
That's
actually
cool.
my grandmother started. So,
That's great.
yes,
Yeah.
so it's a legacy. It's really like, if you ask me why I'm doing this, like not only am I hungry and just like fucking want my own business, but
Yeah.
like really like my grandmother pioneered skincare and I really want to modernize it.
And your grandmother pioneering skincare, like super documented, like in like Google searches, like
Yeah.
like is that like
We're
is she
the first
alive?
accredited aesthetic school in the country.
Is she alive?
Yeah, she is.
That's amazing.
Yeah, she's really, she has dementia, so she doesn't really know what's going on. But
My grandma
like,
does too.
yeah, and it's like, but sometimes when my mom will be like, Rachel's opening a salon, because it's like the best way to just
Yeah.
like get it to her brain, she'll
Yeah.
be like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I think she gets it, yay! And then other days she's like, and we're like, okay, it's
You're
not
like,
working.
who is this woman? Get her out of my. Yeah.
Exactly. But so we have a partnership with our aesthetic school. And that's where we really consider that to be like our R&D like department.
sense.
Yeah.
And we go there and we've not only had like focus groups with the estheticians there, but also done all of our protocols and tested there 3 times now. So we have like proof of our protocols.
Keep going.
Yeah, so
What's happening online?
So in terms of online, there's obviously consumers are really looking at their phones a lot and on their computers a lot. And so when we think about educating her more in the space and telling her about what treatment did you just receive? Why did you receive that? What should you do at home? What should you not do at home? We want to have those communications online. And so we're starting with follow-up emails right after that, like kind of tell her everything that happened during that treatment. And we're able to do that because we're putting tech in place in our studios that is going to be recording all of this data that's happening during the treatment and then communicating that back to her.
Understood.
And why that's really important to the process is that no one's doing that today.
Can I give you a huge piece of advice?
Yeah.
That's what we're here for.
I really think that you need to deliver that content in multiple forms predicated on how she wants to consume it. Your ability to transcribe that information into voice or even long-term eventually transcribe it visually is something you should give a lot of thought to. The amount of companies that have failed or have struggled to get the traction they wanted because they've predicated on a singular form of written communication that doesn't map to her life. Like I would never read that email.
Right.
I don't read emails of clients giving me $3 million.
Yeah.
So I have like full-time so I think for not a big investment, a disproportionate leverage point for you could be that subtle form of communication. Like before you start even going down the path, it's pattern recognition. It's I know what you're about to say. You're gonna have to bridge to that.
Yeah.
You're probably not gonna raise the kind of capital that's gonna allow you to have 6, 7 full-time,
Yeah.
So I do think that subtle communication in the beginning is a much, much bigger deal than people realize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not being done at all today. So I think that the consumer, like the loop with the consumer, like if we get her into our space, give her an amazing experience, and then connect with her after and get her back in, that's where we're really going to retain her and get that lifetime value.
Right.
And no one's doing that today. It's like the conversation starts in the salon and then it stops because they don't do any follow-up.
Also to a very small group of individuals.
Right.
Right? Yeah. Like if it's an hour and a half and it's expensive, you're talking about high net worth women.
Right. Exactly.
This is not, I don't know how many $150 facials, facials are happening in places that are more middle class or,
Yeah. So we're definitely targeting the 30 to 45-year-old woman also, which is like a big white space in beauty. People are all talking to the millennial.
Agreed.
And we really...
That's why I bought Pure Wow.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Nobody agrees more than me.
And by the way, that's the only email subscription that I still subscribe to as a 33-year-old woman. Anyways, I love Pure Wow.
And former neighbor of Ryan Hardwood.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's probably why you're still on Pure Wow.
Yeah.
Subconscious bias.
Not for the GlowBar, but because of Pure Wow.
Okay.
So yeah, we're targeting that like 30 to 45-year-old woman. And we really believe like we're going to be finding her on Instagram and on Facebook, obviously. But even more importantly, we really believe in earned media. And I think that's important to say because our experience is our marketing. We don't have a marketing budget of like $1 million to start. We're raising only $1 million.
Yes.
And so we really need to make sure like that puts the onus on Neha and I to build like a kick-ass experience for her so that she comes in, loves it, and then talks about it. And that's how we're going to win.
Yeah.
Is like organic growth at the beginning, and grassroots and some other exciting initiatives that we have planned that we think are pretty scrappy and fun.
Clever.
And clever, yes, that's one of our brand tenants. But eventually we'll get into like some paid stuff.
So it's literally physical. You're like the digital part. You do think like do you think there's a revenue stream on the digital side, or is it a retention thing?
So to start, it'll be primarily retention.
Yep.
So that physical experience, that brick and mortar is like really our channel when we start. Over time, 5 years from now, when the landscape really starts changing is when the digital landscape becomes more of a revenue stream. And we think of how do you actually make her a digital member and how do you engage the girl who's in a
And when you say the
location.
landscape changes over 5 years, you think the technology advances that allow the telework to be really meaningful because just the clarity of like being able to analyze the skin through a mobile device, or the landscape of your business just growing to a scale where that could become meaningful?
Yeah, I think it's a blend of the two. So I think in right now the habit doesn't even exist for her to come once a month. And so to form that habit, we need those physical spaces. But as that habit is formed and as people become more comfortable with talking to estheticians, they don't really need that physical interaction.
One thing I love about you guys is how little money you're taking, like, because that's my dream. But one thing that does
Everyone
run through,
tells us to take more.
of course, because everyone's not smart. Everyone just cares about banking.
It's insane.
Everybody cares about, like, everybody says that because the economy has been flourishing for a decade and there's so much money in the system.
Yeah.
You know, we've had more investors pass because we aren't accepting enough money than giving us money. It's a wild experience.
It's great.
You're like, you're accepting too small of a check.
By the way, it's also a very clever way that VCs like to say pass in a
Yeah.
nice way.
Right. It's like, oh, you're too early. It's like, well, so is the other company you invested in.
But what I will say is you have a capital intensive business if you're going to go physical location rollout, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Tribeca rent isn't cheap.
It's not, but so there's twofold to that. One is we've really adjusted our real estate strategy for that. So rather than building the big flagships, we actually asked ourselves, well, how small can we make this without compromising the experience?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And so what we've done is lowered our build-out costs and rents relative to others in the space. Beyond that, the payback period is actually pretty quick for this kind of business, especially because the margins are pretty good. And so it actually gives us a bit of runway. So if I put down $200K to build out a space, within 6 to 8 months, we've made that back.
Right.
And so that kind of helps our initial investment into going into this brick and mortar.
Listen, I respect that. I mean, I built an e-commerce wine business on top of a brick and mortar store, which allowed me to do it, right? So I understand that. So you feel like you've been able to not compromise experience, because how much are you gonna do it for? How much is the price point? You said
70.
70, and so you're saying pretty hardcore facials in the city are $150 floor for an hour and a half? Is that right?
Yes.
Or average? I don't have to say
average,
floor.
yeah.
So do you believe that, one thing that runs through my mind, do you believe that if the woman is thinking, okay, I'm paying $150, $120, $170 for an hour and a half, that's 70 for 30. Do you think some people are basic and are just thinking, shit, it's actually amortized out to 210? Is your big comms challenge gonna be that you're gonna get the results you need? And so we're not, because you just made me common gal, and I'll say common gal, but just human.
Yeah.
Human, oh, you're premium.
Yeah.
Because you're 210.
Right.
Yeah.
I think one thing that you'll have a real challenge of is, and it's a good challenge, but back to like your clever marketing stunts, I highly recommend that for the $4 you do have allocated for comms and things of that nature,
we talk about that.
You better.
Yeah.
Because
So it's a big part of our plan.
You better.
Yeah, we have to talk about how, although we have a lower price point in a lower amount of time, we've taken out all the fluff
I
of
have
the facial.
such a big idea.
Tell us.
Talk to us.
I think time is the number one valuable thing on earth.
Yeah.
I think that you should do as much clever shit as possible in telling these women what the average woman can do with an extra hour a day.
Wait, I have a list of this. And I have a list of everything you can do in 30 minutes, Crest White Strips, an episode of Friends, and all that, and then what you can do if you save yourself an hour.
You should.
And
I would
we,
lean
wanna
into
talk
I would
about
lean
that.
into the hour.
Yeah.
Okay.
The half an hour, like this is just psychology consumed. By the way, you should do both, but my intuition is that the hour is, like, if you do a whole campaign of what would you do with an extra hour, and then basically just shit on the industry for wasting an hour of, like, we're not women that have nothing to do.
That's so smart.
Yeah.
That's empowering, on trend. Like, fuck you, establishment. We have shit to do.
Do you think
Or
that
smart
makes us
demographic.
have a little bit of a negative connotation?
Listen, I think that, to your point, like, this is one point of view and one tone of the execution.
Yeah.
My intuition and what my thesis is you do a bunch of them.
Okay.
Like one of them could be like, you can do something nice for your mother-in-law. That sounds like you're wonderful.
Right.
One could, listen, I do think it's always smart to be like, fuck the man. Like, you made us waste an hour. I do think it plays, especially if you're cheeky and not as serious, to your point.
Okay.
I think that you're always one calm interview one clever Instagram post away. I do think it's a very powerful pillar to play on.
Okay.
I believe in voice strictly on the time savings. I finally understood Uber when I understood they were selling time.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like time.
Yeah.
Amazon's winning because of time.
Yeah.
Time. So like just the sheer amount of like really deeply leaning into like who's got an hour to waste? No one?
Right, no one. Especially the demo that we're targeting.
Correct.
Yeah.
We were actually we had someone ask us like, you guys are doing something that's very effective and you're doing it in an efficient way. You just have to ask yourselves, does the consumer value efficiency? And Rachel and I were like, we think so.
Right,
More than ever.
because whoever said that to you went too cliche, like, oh, women love to be pampered. Like, sure, 3 times a year when you have a fucking hour.
Thank you, on vacation. Like, that's not why they're hiring GlowBar.
You're preaching.
Yeah.
Like,
They're coming
right?
to us because they have a problem that they want solved and they need help. And that's
We're
what
not
we're
replacing
really
this.
And what I think
Right.
is better than blowing out your hair is that you're talking about something very macro.
Right.
So the thing I like about it is it's not more dentist than blowing out your hair, but it's definitely more in between than right?
We were just talking about the dentist
Yeah.
earlier.
Oh, yeah.
We
So
definitely consider ourselves in between.
yeah, I think you're in between.
We're in between
Yeah.
like a derm appointment and a traditional spa
How do
because
you
we're
yourself?
solutions oriented, which is what the consumer wants
And
to
what do
hear.
you think? How often do you think they should? Like every woman's skin is different. I get it.
Monthly.
Monthly.
It's-
Once a month.
Really, what we talk about a lot is like you don't go to the gym.
Will you sell? Have you thought about selling yearly subscription then?
Yeah, memberships,
And
yeah.
you will.
Birchbox is in my core.
I get it. So is there a better deal than $840 for the year?
You'll have like 15%, 10 to 15%. It's like the industry norm. But
Yeah, and you'll get a percentage off retail product that we sell. And the difference between us and like others is that we're really partnering with professional brands, which ups our credibility. We're not partnering with those that you can find at Sephora, Blue Mercury, because we want them to come
Salon only
to us.
brand type stuff. That whole dermo brand. That
Professional lines.
professional
that are
brands.
only sold through the esthetician, which really elevates our estheticians because we actually care just as much about the client as our estheticians. Our labor force is what our business is built on.
You should care more about the assistant.
We do.
Exactly,
And
yeah.
we're actually paying them like 25% more than the industry average in the city. We're hoping to like really
Smart.
build a career-oriented labor model.
Have you thought about building their brands, even though that creates a vulnerability for you?
Building the brands that we're working with.
no, with the estheticians.
We've thought a lot about that. We've talked
Can
to...
I give you a huge piece of advice?
Yeah.
You should disproportionately try to make them famous.
So we talk a lot about how there are movie stars.
You should disproportionately try to
yeah.
make them famous. The number one mistakes that all these companies are making right now in exercise and everything else
Yeah.
is they're scared to let them build their brands because then they have leverage and then they leave.
But they don't all leave.
Of course
Right.
not.
That's
And more
like-
importantly,
Right.
if you're known for building brands, they'll all come to you.
Right.
Yeah,
You'll have a pipeline greater than the people that leave.
that's so smart.
Yep.
Like you should almost literally build an internal agency of personal brands for these people. It will become a singular point of leverage for you in your industry.
Yeah, I think we're committed to that for sure. We're really excited about hiring our talent.
I
pool and retaining
really,
them.
really can't stress it enough.
Okay,
It's helpful to hear.
yeah.
The second you with 59 goddamn Instagram followers, but with press, because you've launched, show post 3, this is Karen, here's her story, we love her, every other industry professional looks at them and be like, my place would never do that.
Right,
Right. And they get excited.
yeah. And then they retain clients also.
Yeah, and listen, a bunch will leave and do it personally. I'm just telling you, that's firm.
Yeah,
Not as much on the net result.
right, exactly.
It's the number one mistake that every single professional service like provider kind of like company is making right now. They're trying to put the internet back in the box. I'm trying to make D-Rock the most famous. I turned him into a fucking verb and noun.
When I saw him, I was like, is that D-Rock?
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, we need a picture with him.
So
We still need to get
so
that
this is
picture.
back to like actions over,
Yeah,
words. I
Yeah.
believe in it the most.
yeah. It's something we're really committed
It's
to.
something
Yeah.
not natural to the industry.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Salons don't want their people, like they
Right,
all,
right.
they
They keep them
suppress.
down.
Yeah.
They suppress.
They don't let them like stand into their light.
Yeah.
You will have disproportionate funnel.
Yeah,
I think out of all things, like we're talking here a little bit, the 1 hour and these two things, like look, a young company is about decisions.
Yep.
It's about decisions.
right.
Like when I think about Vayner, it was like making the decision to like make a lot of social media content is why we're sitting here today in the form that we are.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Like deciding that I had to have big time media capabilities when I started to sense any kind of organic reach drop. Like there's decisions. Like hiring only friends at first because I wanted a culture of that. Like these meetings, like, you know, there's a real reason Phil takes 2,000 meetings a year. It's because after I was doing them back in the day, a lot of people wanted them all the time and that didn't scale for me. These are important decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have to be very thoughtful about what you lean into. Like for example, if you thought I was right and you do lean into building out them, that takes time and effort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's strategy. That's you not thinking about you
Right.
or the customer that's talking about the most important asset. But it could become so disruptive. It could be the game changer.
And so defensible against our other competitors in the space.
In a way that's funny because you're vulnerable.
Right.
That's your strength.
Yeah. I like that. Big.
Why'd you like it so much? Because I think, knowing you, it's a little bit of a curveball for me of what you, like I'm curious myself, what I'm being serious in a real way, right? They haven't launched yet. It's physical locations, which I like the practicality of that a lot. I'm a buyer of the payback period. Just curious.
Belief that they can pull off a experience that's next level, just interacting with them, spending time with them. Yeah. From what I've learned over the years and I guess pattern matching. The fact that there is white space, they're selling time, and just the brand resonates with me. I just like them as people too.
Helps.
Yeah. Right,
I think that's just gonna carry through the GlowBar brand, their dynamic.
I think most of our investors right now are investing in us because of who we are. Because like we have no revenue to show, we have a deck, and we have some ideas.
There's only
and a
two
good
things.
thought process.
Of course.
Yeah.
There, the first round of capital is always people and idea.
Yeah.
There is nothing else.
Yeah. And we think we've been really thoughtful about creating something special and focused on the consumer and what they need right now. And I think that's like a winning strategy, if you ask me.
At like the forefront of our minds with every single decision, we ask ourselves, is this helping her take better care of her skin than she is today? And we like have heard from almost every female we've interacted with that there is something more she could be doing, but she just doesn't know what. And so knowing that that need is there and the fact that we're building to solve that is what kind of really motivates us.
What do you think happens in a recession? What's your intuition? Do you have any data on what happened to the space in 08, 09? I think one of the things that's running through my mind is timing.
Yeah.
Obviously this is a luxury-ish, I mean $70, it's a luxury. But I understand the necessity back to dentist versus dry bar, right? Mm-hmm. How much or how little or what do you think happens when the bottom falls out?
Yeah, so traditional beauty, so back in like 2008 when like the recession hit, beauty actually like stayed afloat because it was a small little luxury that they could
Look,
treat
lipstick
themselves.
was lipstick during the Great Depression. That I understand.
Right.
That's a little bit different than what you're talking
but
about.
I do think that we are, because the average is $150 and we're only 70, I think it will still, to some, in some markets, still be considered a more affordable, accessible price point that they can still treat themselves.
I think that's right. I mean, I think that's right. I think you could lose a lot of people.
Yep. I think we
But
would
I
lose
wonder-
their consistency of coming.
Yeah, I think
more.
the question is, can you gain enough from the 150s that need to go to 70?
Yeah.
I think it's the demographic we're going after actually helps a little bit. We think that like they are used to seeing that 150 and then they'll come to the 70 and then also
Are you worried about people valuing something based on price at all? Has that been a discussion?
Yeah, we've talked about that. There's like
We're having a focus group for pricing actually,
Yeah.
just to make sure that we're hitting the nail on the head with it, and just like going through a few scenarios of like how psychologically people are reacting to the $70 price point with the product that we're providing, because we're actually providing the value is similar to the 150. It's just we've been able to cut out all the fluff and make it for $70.
Have you thought about the basic like retail principle of making it 69 or 79 just because it's, I know. But like, have you thought about that? Don't be a dirtbag. You know?
I just don't like the 9. I like, it drives me nuts.
Oh, the 9 bothers you more than like the silly reference?
Oh, I didn't even.
I thought that's what you were laughing at.
Oh my God, no!
69.
You never know what that
No. Yeah, with me, you do never know how to like
You don't like the visual of not. Let me save you a lot of time.
$69.99
Yeah.
makes
Let me-
me feel like a dollar store.
Respect.
We have talked about that.
But
though.
we've talked.
We're like,
go
should
back.
we be like 78?
Like, what would you pay? Because
I would tell you what I would pay. I would run Google ads against search queries
Okay.
and run a bunch of testing and Facebook ads. Like do what Tim Ferriss brilliantly did. 4 Hour Work Week was a beta test on Google
Okay.
searches. I would run Facebook, Instagram, and Google ads against pricing of a fake salon landing page and see who signs up for what and why.
that's brilliant.
I think so. And I think that we live in 2019 and you guys can literally, not
Test.
kidding. Here's what I would do if I were you. I would create a fake facial place. I'm being dead serious. You can call it Gary's if you'd like.
That is called Gary.
You
Gary
should
facial
test, create some one-off landing pages, run ads against certain demos and income levels, see what people react to, get their email, right?
Yep.
And then send a surprise gift to everybody as like an announcement for what you're launching. 7 weeks ago, you filmed out, like something, you know what I mean?
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
So that'd be fun. You're surprising and delighting them.
Yeah.
You're getting information. Win, 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 win.
Yeah.
And for like $500 of Instagram and Facebook ads, you're getting a real meaningful read.
Yeah.
That's so smart. Okay.
Yeah.
Consider it done.
It's helpful.
Let me know how it went.
We will.
We will, because you're going to see it. It's Gary's facial spa is launching in New York.
Anything else I can answer for you?
So many things. What do you think? What do you think are the risks to this business?
I'm very obsessed with the time saving thing.
Okay.
It's my number one thesis. I think you're in the branding business. I think that if you're right, you're gonna have a lot of fast followers
Yep.
and a lot of people adjusting, and then that goes away. So I think you're in the branding business.
Yeah.
I really do.
On that
Which
note-
is why I'm so disproportionately excited about you building up what are they called again? I apologize.
Estheticians.
I think the esthetician thing's exciting to me because building a brand that you're pro that is going to be a leverage point over time.
Yeah.
Like tomorrow, if I have 4 facial places in Long Island and you're getting real traction, and I'm like, fuck, and obviously there's things in process that allows you to do in 30. It's something that will be moved. If you're right, it gets moved on pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's true.
And I think like building out brand and being loud and proud is important.
Yeah.
Yeah. Similar to that, when you think about our marketing and kind of what you've heard a little bit, what's sort of your reaction to that of like really focusing on like earned media and like focusing on our product in the beginning versus running billboards and Facebook ads for a brand people don't know yet?
I would do what you're doing. I'd probably layer influencer marketing on top.
Okay.
Yeah.
No
Yep.
billboard, no Facebook,
Yeah.
but I would do influencer marketing.
Yep.
I would also call in favors.
We plan
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you like find out the most fabulous girls you have in your Rolodex, went to school with, friends, homies.
It's ourselves.
Respect, but that's only 2. And so like, I really do think more friends and family up front,
Yeah.
but like friends and family with like a requirement of like, that's nice, we're giving it to you. We're not giving it to you unless you post it on your Instagram.
Right.
Yeah.
Of course. And
Yeah.
that will create organic growth.
Yeah, I think you manipulate the organic growth a little bit up front through influencers that you pay. And listen, you know what I don't like about the startup community yet? Like, not yet, like in its current form, it's not desperate enough.
Yeah.
I'm
no one's hustling, they have so much money behind them.
completely out of control on this direct-to-consumer wine brand I launched. I'm hustling and grinding and being so ghetto, and I have all the leverage and money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm still doing it because it's my natural state. It's a new baby. Like, this is where you like swallow pride and like email some girl that like didn't say something nice about you but doesn't know that you know and still ask her to do it because it's good for your fucking business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We definitely are going to get scrappy.
Do you understand
And
that?
I know that they're going to do that, and that's another reason they're here. I felt that.
I actually want to show you.
Your part was done by now.
I want to show you. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it.
But I highly recommend.
You were allowed to talk.
You were asked the question. You're not getting to ride on this wave.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to find this fast enough, but we have like a great campaign. It's super scrappy for like telephone polls, like
Scratching your guerrilla marketing campaign itch that you've had your whole life, versus yes, Tyler. I gotta go. Yeah. Cool. versus influencer fucking marketing and like most fab girls, you know, call in favors, be annoying.
Yeah.
Okay. Be annoying.
Be annoying. Listen, the cool thing is, it's like me when I'm gonna be annoying when the actual rosé comes out. I'm gonna be annoying to tell people I wanna send them a bottle of rosé to take a picture and put on Instagram, but they can drink it. Like being annoying again, you need a mix, right? You need Instagram gal that's got a big following, that's with. But like, you know, like somebody you were friends with at like fancy, like, you know, consulting firm who's got 1,700, but she's Alpha Scarsdale matters too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
High low.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
High low.
High low.
We were talking about that earlier too.
Thanks,
you.
guys.
Really appreciate it.
Real pleasure.
So great meeting you.
Can we get one pic with you?
You sure can.
Just so like
Just one.
we have proof. Because I feel like our family thinks we're lying.
Hey, I'm Phil Toronto. I'm SVP of Special Projects with Gary. We just wrapped our meeting with Rachel and Neha of GlowBar. If you want to follow along in their opening journey, you can follow them on Instagram @GlowBar or sign up for their newsletter at getglowbar.com.